What is a Zionist? Read that.
Zionism, derived from Zion, is a nationalist movement that emerged in the 19th century.
So think about it. It's a nationalist. Nationalist means they're for their race and their race only. Like Malcolm X, for example, was not a civil rights leader. Malcolm X was what they called a black nationalist. He believed in separation from Caucasians. So he wasn't looking for civil rights trying to intertwine, at least not at the beginning. He wanted to separate. That's nationalism. Everybody understand the difference? All right, so read this again about Zionism.
Zionism is a nationalist movement that emerged in the 19th century to enable the establishment of a homeland for the Jewish people in Palestine.
So for the Khazars in Palestine, go ahead.
A region roughly corresponding to the land of Israel in Jewish tradition. Following the establishment of Israel, Zionism became an ideology that supports the development and protection of the state of Israel.
So it's a group of racists that's protect themselves. They looking after their own interests, okay? And this is Theodore Herzl, who was an atheist. He would raise it up so we can read what it says under him. Read that.
Theodore Herzl was the founder of the modern Zionist movement in his 1896 pamphlet, Der Judenstaat. He envisioned the founding of a future independent Jewish state during the 20th century.
And this guy didn't believe in God at all. He said, let's use that Balfour Declaration thing. Let's get that on the road. They worked it out with the Rothschilds, okay? A super rich family. From there, I didn't want no more. Give me the next book. Read that.
Who is Esau Edom by Charles A. Weissman.
One of their scholars. Let's go inside the book. So they like to throw around, raise it up. All I want is anti-Semitism. That's all I want. Read that.
Anti-Semitism. The term anti-Semitism has been used by the Jews to counter and conceal God's natural order and plan in the world.
Wait a minute. Anti-Semitism is used by Jews, Khazars, to counter and conceal God's natural order and plan in the world. So anti-Semitism is meant to shut the Bible down. Shut the Bible down. That's what he revealed.
That's a cult.
Read on.
An order which has assigned to the Jew the role of...
They play the role of what?
Aggressor. Hater.
Oh.
Destroyer.
Wow.
Seducer. Invader. And corrupter. By simply calling one anti-Semitic, the Jews attempt to put...
I didn't do the rest. That's how they hem you up, get you to lose your job. Give me the next page. Yes, let's read that.
If Esau's true identity and traits become publicly known.
You know how the Lord said in Psalms 2, and then shall that wicked be revealed,
Yes.
who shall be consumed with the spirit of my mouth. Our job is to reveal the wicked. Now read that again from Esau's.
If Esau's true identity and traits become publicly known.
That's why there's a shadow ban on Israelites. Go ahead.
He would once again be powerless in the world.
Because people will start to go, is this the man that made the earth to tremble? Is this the man? Go ahead.
The Jews have inherited these attributes of Esau and frantically try to silence anyone who would reveal them.
Y'all see that? And frantically try to silence anyone who would reveal them. That's what your ADL's about, SPLC, APOC, the Israel Project. They're all about shutting this Bible down. Go ahead.
The anti-Semitic charge, along with the quote-unquote hate laws, is a tool the Jew uses in defense of his offensive, hostile, revolutionary, and anti-Christian nature.
They'll get a Palestinian who just had his whole family killed by the bombings, and they'll say, do you condemn Hamas?
Right.
If it can be insinuated that one charged with anti-Semitism is the hater and aggressor, an emotional response of the masses can be directed against that individual.
And how do they get the masses to do that? Through the internet.
If it can be insinuated that one charged with anti-Semitism is the hater and aggressor, An emotional response of the masses can be directed against that individual, forcing him into either silence or loss of status in society, business, or politics.
Do y'all see that bottom line? Forcing him into either silence, meaning they mean shut you up, or loss of status in society, business, or politics. What does that mean, brothers? You lose your jobs. You lose everything. Look at it. Or loss of status in society, business, you lose your business or politics.
The highest of the ancient high places was now secure for Jews to immigrate into and occupy.
Read it again.
The highest of the ancient high places was now secure for Jews to immigrate into and occupy.
One more time.
The highest of the ancient high places was now secure for Jews to immigrate into and occupy.
Give me there. Give me the next one. That's a Nazi if I ever saw one right there. Go ahead. There you go. Go ahead. Now give me the next page in the same book. Yes. Let's zoom in. Come on, Yuri.
But when we now consider that 95% of the Jews in the modern world are Ashkenazim,
So 95% of them are Ashkenazim. Go ahead.
their claim to a Jewish homeland in Palestine becomes absurd.
It's absurd what they want. Go ahead.
grotesque.
It's disgusting and ugly what they want.
They are descended from Caucasus converts to Judaism.
You all see that right there? I didn't make this up. Read that part again.
They are descended from Caucasus converts to Judaism, nothing more, and have no genetic or historical connection with Palestine at all.
You hear that?
Case of Zionism.
That's the case of Zionism. What is Zionism? Go ahead.
The case of Zionism is no different from, say,
Now he's going to give an example of Zionism.
a group of Cree Indians from northern Canada becoming converted to Catholicism and then demanding a piece of the Vatican as Cree homeland.
Do y'all see that? That's what it says Zionism, because they don't belong, just like the Cree Indians don't belong in the Vatican. These Nazi converts don't belong in Jerusalem at all. That's what he's saying. Raise it up.
Israel was conceived by Ashkenazi Jews
Y'all see that?
to buttress their delusions.
They're what?
To buttress their delusions. To feed that insatiable desire for identity in time.
Y'all see that? They had an insatiable desire for identity. Well, who was they before? They was calling themselves Jewish. They're Idumeans. They was the Khazars, the Caucasians. Read on.
Israel was established by deceiving the rest of the world.
Wow, wait a minute. Read that again.
Israel was established by deceiving the rest of the world, but particularly the North American public about the real origins of the
Do
Ashkenazim.
y'all see that? Do y'all see that? Wow. Read on.
That deception was made possible by Jewish influence in U.S. mass media
United States mass media. That's how the deception was pushed. Go ahead.
and international finance.
And they put billions behind this. Go ahead.
Arthur Kessler, a celebrated Jewish author, was not unaware of the anomalous situation of modern Israel.
Meaning he was well aware of it. That's what was not unaware means he knew about it. Go ahead.
Of modern Israel in the light of Ashkenazian origins. Yet, in the 13th tribe, Kostler falls back upon a legalism, a technicality, to defend Israel's right to exist.
Right, because in parts in the book, he tries to still justify them bastards being over there. So now, what we want to look at is how Israel was established by deceiving the rest of the world. Give me that.
To the present time by Hannah Adams, written in 1818.
So I always like to use these old books as secondary sources. As we know, the Bible is our first primary source, the only source, actually. So people often want to know, do you have any secondary book sources outside of the Bible? Okay, so let's go inside this book. Read the highlighted section.
According to the accounts of the Falasha, Their sovereigns are of the tribe of Judah.
So that's the Falasha Jews. That's those in Ethiopia. They call themselves Beta Israel. Beta Israel. They don't call themselves Falasha. Go ahead.
Their Old Testament is in the Ge'ez language, written by Abyssinian Christians and sold to them. No dispute has ever existed about the text of Scripture. They have no table of various readings, no Talmud, Targum, or Kabbalah, no fringes or ribbons upon their garments, nor any scribe. They have lost their Hebrew and only speak the language their ancestors learned in the country where they settled.
All right. So it's just like with them, so has it come to our people. Give me the next page. So I'm showing you how back in 1818, they knew that these blacks in Africa were Jews, Israelites. Read.
The Jews are also numerous in other parts of Africa.
So y'all see that? Give me the next page. Excuse me. Next page. Read that.
The Hebrew nation are at present scattered over the face of the habitable globe. They are numerous in some parts of Asia, particularly the Turkish dominion. Various countries in Africa contain a large number, as Egypt and Ethiopia, and it is computed that there are 400,000 in Morocco, Algiers, and Fez.
Okay, so that's all I want from that. Go to the next page. Go ahead.
Dr. Buchanan, while he resided in India, was assiduously engaged in investigating the state of the inhabitants. The Jews, says he, are numerous in India.
So this is what I want to pause here. So this, back in this time period, they knew that there was a remnant of Jews in India, black Jews in India. This is from the time of Esther. Go ahead.
And reside in a town about a mile distant from Cochin, called Jewstown. It is almost wholly inhabited by this people, who have 2 respectable synagogues.
Next page.
The resident Jews are divided into 2 classes, called the Jerusalem or white Jews and the ancient or black Jews. The white Jews reside at this place. The black Jews have also a synagogue here, but the great body of that tribe inhabit towns in the interior of that province. This learned author thus proceeds in his interesting relation. On my inquiry into the antiquity of the white Jews, they first delivered to me a narrative in the Hebrew language of their arrival in India, which has been handed down to them from their fathers.
Next page.
The white Jews live on the seacoast and have commerce with foreign nations. The black Jews live chiefly in the interior of the country. The Hindus call them Israeli. They call themselves B'nai Israel and not Jews, for their ancestors did not belong to Judah, but to the kingdom of Israel. They consider themselves to be descended from those tribes which were carried away at the first captivity.
Mm-hmm.
In some parts of the East, the B'nai Israel never heard of the Second Temple. They never heard of the Christian account of the coming of the Messiah. Some of them possess only the Pentateuch, the Psalms, and Book of Job. Others have no portion of Scripture left, but their countenance and their observance of the Sabbath and of peculiar rites demonstrate that they are Jews. The white Jews of Cochin, despite the black Jews as being of
despise
the black Jews as being of an inferior caste.
So that's really what I wanted to get to. How these white Jews discriminate against the black Jews. They see us as being an inferior caste. So these are more than likely the Dalit Indians. They call them Dalits. That means outcasts. Give me the next page.
But there is another body of Jews, not a colony, but a kingdom of Jews, to which this society may also address itself. And that is the 10 tribes. For the 10 tribes, so long lost, have at length been found. It has been sufficiently ascertained by the investigation of the learned in India that the Afghan and Piran nations consist of the descendants of the Jewish tribes of the first dispersion.
So they're letting you know a remnant of the Israelites were in Afghanistan and the Pyrene nations and India. Go ahead.
When I was in the south of India, I asked the black Jews where their brethren, the great body of the 10 tribes, were to be found. They answered promptly that they were to be found in the north.
So that's around Turkey. Next page.
In a work entitled The History of the American Indians, he concludes his observations on their origin and descent as follows. From the most exact observations I could make in the long time I traded among the Indian Americans, I was forced to believe them lineally descended from the Israelites, either while they were a maritime power or soon after the general captivity.
So this book goes into some heavy information regarding where the Israelites were scattered. From Africa to India, Afghanistan, Turkey, North America. So it goes into a lot. So I'm showing you this book to show you that there are secondary sources regarding the truth that we often bring out in the Bible.
Chosen People from the Caucasus by Michael Bradley.
Let's go inside.
Most of them are descendants of Russian steppe tribesmen.
So it's talking about the white man that calls himself Jewish. Read it again, most of them?
Most of them are descendants of Russian steppe tribesmen who were converted to Judaism en masse around 740 AD, being of highly aggressive Caucasoid genetic stock.
Highly aggressive Caucasoid genetic stock. So he's letting you know who these people are. They say they're Jews. Go ahead.
Modern Jews could be expected to be highly aggressive in consequence.
Go ahead.
Now the Khazar conversion origin.
So that lets you know that they're not always the victim. Although they like to play the victim, they're not always the victim. Start again now.
Now, the Khazar conversion origin of most of modern Jewry.
Most of modern Jewry, go ahead.
Is a fact.
Is a what?
Is a fact discovered by Jewish scholars.
So Jewish scholars have discovered this fact. Go ahead.
And a fact accepted by almost all Jewish scholars.
So almost all Jewish scholars know that they are descended from Khazars, Caucasians, not Israelites. Go me to the next page. Give me the next page. Yep.
The essential point is that these Ashkenazim, the Jewry of Eastern Europe and the prime victims of Hitler's Holocaust, were descendants of Khazar tribes people.
Y'all see that?
They were converts to Judaism.
They were converts to Judaism. Go ahead.
They have no historical or genetic connection with the biblical Jews of Palestine at all.
Do y'all see that? They have no genetic connection. That's why they said it's illegal to get your ancestry tested in Israel. Go ahead.
And this was known among themselves.
Oh, wait. This was known among themselves. So they're hoping that you and me never get this information. But the Bible gave it to us first. And many of you at home, you scorn the Bible. Now we're showing you other authors are backing up what the Bible is saying.
That's right.
Christians always mute when it comes to this topic. Where we at, Yuri?
And this was known among themselves and among the more astute Jewish,
Meaning the more smarter ones. Go ahead.
and non-Jewish historians and linguists from at least 1700 AD.
You see this? From the time of slavery, they knew this thing. Go ahead.
It was a well-known, if disguised and ignored fact of Jewish life.
See that? It was a well-known, if disguised and ignored fact of Jewish life. Go ahead.
From 1850 onward.
So they disguise it. They ignore it. Maybe it'll just go away. But God says, no, it's not going to go away. Read on.
Most of what we, Gentiles, in North America consider to be Jewish,
Pay close attention.
and most of what even the not Ashkenazium immigrants into North America consider to be Jewish is not Jewish at all.
It's not Jewish at all. Like what? What is he talking about? Go ahead. Like what? Yuri, read.
And most of what even the Ashkenazium immigrants into North America considered to be Jewish is not Jewish at all. The Hasidic side locks.
Wait a minute. The Hasidic side locks is not Jewish. Can we get some images? You got the, that's it. That's the Hasidic side locks. It is not found in the Bible. Give me the next one. The damn side locks again. Go ahead. Look at that. Y'all be thinking that that's from the Bible when they wear their hair like that. It's not in the Bible. Go back to the book. Read it again, Yuri.
The Hasidic side locks. The skull cap. Yarmulke.
Wait, can we get the skull cap? Do y'all see this? They said this is not in the Bible. It has nothing to do with the real Jews. Nothing at all. Do y'all see this? Many books call that the hat of Hermes. Come on, is there any more on them? No, that's not a yarmulke. Come on, y'all. Don't embarrass me now. Go back to the book. Yes, read again.
The Hasidic side locks, the skull cap, yarmulke, the rabbi's fur-trimmed hat.
Let's get that. That's the fur skin hats. Give me some more. Y'all see that? We be seeing that in Brooklyn a lot. Go ahead. Now go back to the book. Wait a minute. Read it again. The Hasidic side locks.
The Hasidic side locks, the skull cap, yarmulke, the rabbi's fur-trimmed hats and caftans, gefilte fish.
Mm-hmm.
None of that is Jewish.
See that? None of that is Jewish. Go ahead.
Not in the sense that it originated from the people of Abraham in ancient Palestine.
So it doesn't come from Abraham. Who does it come from?
It is all Khazar.
Y'all see that? It's all Khazar.
It's all Khazar. It reflects traditions of steppe tribesmen who never had anything to do with biblical Hebrews or Judaism.